Good evening. MA Philosophy MPY-001 block number 3 M MPY-001 MGP-005 Introduction to Peace and Conflict Studies. Block number 3 Unit number 9 Western and Eastern Perspective. Block number 3 is Methods of Conflict Resolution. Unit number 9 Western and Eastern Perspective. Introduction. Conflicts are natural. They exist wherever two or more human beings come together. Self-interest of men are not always identical or even common to all. The reasoning ability which is given to men makes the matter complex. Each one conceives his own interest. While doing so, he may take into account the interest of others as well, or he may not. He may even consider harming the interest of others, friends or foes. His reasoning power as well as his ethical bearing shapes his thought and actions. Thus are born the conflicts in society. One may find conflicts within the family, among different families, and among various social, cultural, economic, and religious groupings. Conflicts among these may not always be bad or hurtful. They may at times be even productive or creative. Reconciliation of conflicts of interest in society is verily the art of politics, and if politics fails, war or coercive methods step in to resolve the issue. How best to avoid a war or violence is our concern. Conflict resolution minus violence is not only a sign of uh, heightened civilization but also the prime need of the hour when violence can get unlimited and counterproductive. Therefore, a scientific study of conflict resolution is called for aims and objective. This unit would make you understand the nature and categories of conflicts, different perspectives related to conflicts, the key feature of Western and Eastern perspective of conflicts and their resolution, nature and methods. Before attempting the solution and methods of solution to the conflicts, it may be worthwhile to consider the nature and categories of conflicts. If disputes arise when within a family, say among the children, among relations, or within a clan caste, the authority of the state in the form of a law or command from the king may not be required to settle the issue. An ethical code, or at the best a codified edict resembling a religious code, may be suffice to guide the solution to the problem. Discipline, enlightenment, and fair play may be the key points in any such courts. Long practice of such courts may open them an awe of authority and indisputability. Excepting rare cases, there is no scope for violence in dealing with family conflicts. When the family model is extended to a larger social, cultural, or economic grouping, the methods of resolution get modified. The interest of those who are more powerful or stronger get a protection and preference. A negotiated solution, a peaceful and reasonable one, may get encased into the structure and procedure of the system concerned. So long as it lasts, it is supposed to be just and practicable. When its utility is questioned or the unjust face of it is unmarked, its credibility is reduced. New conflicts arise and new solutions will be found. In all domestic affairs, an agreed authority in the form of an officer, political, legal, administrative, police, or a religious head would be held as the highest arbitrator, and his decision would be held final and binding. This system secures This system secures stability and order and ensures that all men live in peace and satisfaction. This domestic system of conflict resolution faces severe challenge which independent or semi-independent autonomous entities get into disputes when one ethnic community is ranged against another, when one state is challenged by another, when one religion faith takes on others, or one small group of men outlawed, uh, exiled, or self-proclaimed rebel against the system. The parameters of conflict resolution change. If the civil methods fail to resolve the conflict, the sword emerges as the final arbiter. War then would be glorified, depending upon the sphere in which conflicts arise. Methods of solution would have to be devised from time immemorial. Some standard methods are employed, although there is no universality about them. Another way of understanding the origin of conflicts is to look at their core or content objectively. For instance, there might be disputes regarding water, territory, trade and commerce, legal and customary rights, protection of lives and rights of human being is in one's own or foreign territory, etc. In these cases, claims and counterclaims have to be weighted in the scale of reasonableness and accomodativeness. If one were to be blind to the practicality and enlightened self-interest, and unleashing of violence would take place. The resultant achievement may not be wise, just, or permanent. Therefore, after repeated experience over several centuries, the mankind has come now to the conclusion that peaceful exploration of conflicts in international arena is decidedly superior to the traditional mode of warfare. The emergence of weapons of mass destruction like the nuclear weapons has highlighted the urgency to settle peacefully all the conflicts in human society. Dif- Difference in perspectives. When a conflict occurs, how does one perceive it? Is it to be sorted out through talks and negotiations? A timely compromise may perhaps ward off any trouble, or is it an occasion to stand firm and test the will of the opponent? Perception of the level of conflict is important in choosing appropriate approach to solution. Insofar as domestic conflicts are concerned, that is, conflicts between elements within a group, there are standard methods to settle them, like law courts in civil matters, elections in political matters, or market in economic matters. However, in case of conflicts between groups, an air of uncertainty prevails. Group conflicts may occur within a state, like communal ethnic disputes, cultural linguistic disputes, immigration demographic disputes. Depending upon the perception of seriousness of the conflicting interest, different methods can be tried to resolve the dispute. If no quick solution is found, the conflict assumes the form of a prolonged struggle and also tend to involve more and more violent features. When conflicts or disputes arise between states in the international arena, similar symptoms are observed as in the case of intergroup conflicts. To make it worse, the option of war looms large. What makes the group or states to prefer one method, one approach of solution over the others? More often than not, it is the perception of the interest involved in the conflict. If the interests are perceived, rightly or wrongly, to be vital, there would be stubborn and unrelenting pursuit of interest by the party concerned. In the perception of interest, vital and fundamental, the cultural ethos of the group state plays a decisive role. In some cultures, especially in the West, the opposites are depicted as black and white, wicked or and good, wrong and the right, wherein the opponent, who is always black, wicked or wrong, has to be eliminated or overcome to those who are always white, good or right. Milton's Paradise Lost depicts this situation best. Perhaps the religious beliefs in the good versus the evil reinforce the perception of conflicts in the best. In this process of conflict resolution, violence gets acceptability if not respectability. In the eastern part of the globe, cultural and philosophical moorings appears to be somewhat different compared to the western part. In India as well as in China, the good and evil are neither related as total nor mutually exclusive. The relationship between them is not one of versus, but one of and the struggle for supremacy is on, but it will end in the surrender of the evil to the good. The evildoer is normally forgiven and taken into the main fold. The good and bad are qualitatively opposed, but the actors are differentiated from their actions. This is a major civilizational difference between the Western and the Indian conceptual tapestry. The difference may also be attributed to the two faiths' fundamental beliefs, one holding on to one God and one truth, whereas the other goes by the uh, other goes by the multiplicity of forms of God and truth. This cultural philosophical basis works on the mode of thinking about conflicts and their resolution. If one analyzes the links between society, culture, philosophy, and religion, one would come away with the unavoidable impression that all these are intertwined inextricably. Mindset seems to be the ultimate product of all these, which incidentally shapes the structural conflict and internationalization of conflicts. The antagonism between us and them is determined by such mindset. Language is used as a tool of expression of this thought process. Literature strives to provide a fuller and vivid elucidation of this. Professor Anatole Rappaport in Conflict in Man-Made Environment gives succinct a succinct account of how internalized conflicts shape our thinking about ourselves and others. Enemies' attitudes towards conflicts are internalized by each individual as a consequence of his experience and upbringing. Attitudes are also internalized on a larger scale, that is, interna- uh, internalized by larger systems, groups, tribes, societies, and nations. One might add ideologies as well. He gives us an insight into the working of American way of life. He he takes three American classics to illustrate the serious side of American mind. If Mark Twain's the Connecticut Yankees opens with a self-statement: I am an American. My father was a blacksmith. My uncle was a horse doctor. I can make everything. This Yankee represents the strong-willed missionary who almost succeeds in his mission but fails at the last moment thanks to the forces of tyranny and superstition. Number second, Huckleberry Firm is all about a struggling self-made hero Huck who wanted to be left alone and escape from restrictions of family, community, and civilization itself. But he too fails. Number third, in his drive for majesty, a pure obsession with conflict, Captain Ahab Captain Ahab in Herman Melville's Moby Dick too fails. Not only he destroys himself but destroys others as well. All of these most representative masterpieces of American literature are dominated by a theme and a counter theme. A theme claims that man realizes himself by asserting his absolute individuality. The counter theme responds that the individual struggling against his milieu must fail. Rappaport calls this basic American tragedy, which pervades serious American literature, which includes not only Mark Twain, Mel, Melville, Sinclair Lewis, and Thoreau. However, the popular literature and its offspring, the TV channels or the electronic media, suppress this theme. They entertain fantasy and succeeds. The hero fulfills his wish and achieves success. Always, the two together now represents the American culture. This culture basis generates the American self-esteem and also the trends of conflict vis-a-vis other cultures or ideologies. When a belief, faith, or ideology is internalized by individuals or institutionalized by groups or societies or nations, the theme is enveloped by an authority structure so as to make it endure under all circumstances. When the core idea, theme, belief is diluted, corrupted, or when it is contrast, uh, contrasted with other similar force, it feel it feels challenged and feels compelled to defend itself. The authority which it has given birth to come into play, and it is made out as though it is the authority, political, religious, which is challenged and not the idea which it is supposed to cover. Thus, conflicts around in the name of preservation of core values of a group or society. Interestingly, the opponent of the American system, the communist ideology, was also held up uh, as an unfailing model, even as its erosion, corruption, and limitations were showing up, showing up, showing up were being pointed out by internal critics. Lenin defended orthodox Marxism, thus you cannot eliminate even one basic assumption, one substantial part of this philosophy of Marxism. It is as if it were a solid block of steel. Without abandoning objective truth, without falling into the arms of bourgeois reactionary falsehood, materialism, and empirics criticism. When an idea is doubted or sought to be changed, the authority which covers the idea feels itself to be challenged or threatened. This is how many a conflict is born in terms of ideology, religion, culture, or language. In the West, in general, the church and state have had close identification with culture and society. Whether it was a matter of conflict generation or conflict resolution, both of these, religion and state, played a crucial role. However, in the East, especially in China and India from ancient times to the modern time, both these institutions, religion and state, have displayed awkward and ambiguous position. They were the very term religion in the Western sense appear to be out of place here. The state or the king appear to be of a limited role. To preserve the social order was the goal of the king, be it in China or in India. Especially in China, one saw no particular religious establishment to control the attitude and behavior of men. The preachings, which were quite influential, come from master philosophers who had no authority except the force of reasoning and wisdom. Ethical instructions, they were not religious codes. The basic stress in them was not on conflicts but harmonious life in society. The individuals were advised to shape their lives upon the ethical teachings of masters who laid down no particular doctrine or faith to be covered by any authority structure. Confucius, born about 550 years BC, was a venerated and much influential master over thousands of years. All his preachings were in the form of short statements, analects, which were centered on the ethics of a gentleman and fine basic relationship in society, observed or violated. His instructions laid the foundation of the Chinese culture. His influence was slightly uh, eclipsed during the Mao regime but now has staged a comeback. In essence, he believed that all men are good at birth but not many remain so to the end. Unlike the Indian philosophers, Confucius did not dwell on death and God. He said often, "You have not understood life, why inquire about afterlife? You have not yet understood human life, why show interest in God?" According to him, the only worthwhile thing to do for everybody was to care for improve and achieve the welfare of society. The social idea of Confucius was the achievement of harmony all around. It should begin with oneself striving to be a gentleman. A whole book deals with the attributes of an ethical human being, being the gentleman. The most important virtue of the gentleman was Zen humanity or bene, Zen humanity or benevolence. He must also demonstrate Chung doing his best and Shu knowing what other people want. Uh, Whenever precise questions were put to him for definition of of a gentleman, Confucius stuck to his theme all the time. Do not do to others what you like, not like yourself. Do not do to others what you would not like yourself. Never do to others what you would not like them to do to you. This that was the essence of a gentleman and ethical man. Also said he, a gentleman calls attention to the good points in others. He does not call attention to their defects. The small man, the vulgar man does just the opposite. A gentleman is distressed by his own lack of capacity. He is never distressed at the failure of others to recognize his merits. A gentleman makes demand upon himself. A small man make demand upon others. According to Confucius, a truly moral man, the gentleman, is the who unconsciously lives a life in harmony with the universal moral order and lives unknown to the world or noticed by men. The life of the vulgar person, on the other hand, was a contradiction of the universal order. He has not in his heart the regard for or fear of the moral law. The highest human attainment was, according to Confucius, to find the central clue to our moral being which unites us to the universal order. He is in this regard held that the society was made up of five relationships which should be understood and observed properly. There were between husband and wife, parents and children, elders and youngsters, ruler and subjects, and friend. A country is well governed when these five relationships are duly recognized and promoted. Human conflicts can no longer arise if these are observed. Instead, there would prevail harmony all around. In one particular observation, he extolled, if there be righteousness in the heart, there will be beauty in character. If there be beauty in character, there will be harmony in home. If there be harmony in home, there will be order in the nation. If there be order in nation, there will be peace in the world. If such be the prescriptions, and if they be observed by people, there would no doubt be a spell of heavenly rules. Like Confucius, Liu Tzu was another great bene- venerated Chinese philosopher who perhaps developed the first systematic treatise on life, nature, and society. He was 53 years older than Confucius. Lao Tzu philosophy centered on two words, Tao, Wei, and Ti, virtue. Tao refers to the pristine, pure, original nature, the great universal mother. When society was simple and free from defects, society was simple and pure because people knew the Tao. Life was peaceful and the world was happy then. But gradually, knowledge crept in and complications arose. Life and society were flooded soon with misery because men lost their grip on Tao, the essential principle underlying all the phenomena in nature. The more one studies Leo Tzu, the more similarities one come across in some respects between the ancient Indian scriptural and philosophical ideas like Prakriti and Purush, and the attributes of Brahman and of the uh, Sthita Pragya on the one hand, and on the other Lao Tzu's de- description of Tao and Di. They may look a bit similar without there being any direct link between them. of course. Perhaps the Indian concepts go deeper and wider than Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu, for example, exhorts people to live a simple life and in harmony with nature. Knowledge and wisdom are not required. A simple man is less of a peril than a man of learning. A man of learning is a danger to the state society as he tries to regulate the system on the basis of laws. No law is necessary to live in accordance with nature. Laws destroy society. They take away freedom and free will. Strive to keep the world in its original simplicity. Why so much? Why so much fuss? Ignoring simplicity, we have been in the mire of curse and confusion. According to Lao Tzu, by restoring simplicity, the world may be saved from desires and false notions and from sin. To remain gentle is to be unconquerable. Gentleness is always victorious. The weak has the power to overcome the strong. He that humbles himself shall be preserved entire. He that bends himself shall be straightened. He that empties himself shall be filled. Having emptied yourself of everything, guard your uh, tranquil, tran- tranquility and remain where you are. All things in nature work silently. They come into being and possess nothing. They fulfill their function and make no claim. When they reach their bloom, each return to each returns to its origin. Returning to origin means a rest of fulfillment of destiny. The reservation is eternal law. Along with this prescription of simple living, Lao Tzu pleads also for a detached living, which means a man should shed ego and desires, but no one should ignore living a virtuous life. Act non-action, be occupied with non-occupation. Test the testless. Find your great find your great in what is little and your many in few. If these be the principles on the basis of which one should lead life in society, there need not arise conflict among men and groups of men. Whether it is Confucius, Lao Tzu, or even Buddhism in ancient China, the philosophy of social life revolved around detachment, harmony, respect for others, especially the elders, and obeying. Harmonious living was the norm. These this Chinese perspective is a distinguishing mark in comparison to the perspective from other cultures. So far as our own country's cultural perspective, for the lack of a better word, the Hindu perspective is concerned, one might say that it is by far the most comprehensive or enduring in human history. To put it in a capsule form, it said, truth is one, but there are different ways of understanding it. God is one, but he appears in different forms of different people. There is unity in diversity and diversity in unity. Karma actions is your burden duty, but its outcome is not in your hands. Time is cyclical. To protect the good ones, and punish, destroy the bad ones is God's responsibility. One should strive to secure peace in all its dimensions. Live life according to the code of religious conduct, that is dharma. There are various interpretations and ways of Hindu culture and philosophy on account of differing social and historical milieu. Diverse and other conflicting practices have come up. The very fact that the core philosophy has survived 5 to 6,000 years over a very large territory comprising of a very large population shows its grit and eternal appeal. As famous historian Arnold Toynbee has observed, all other great civilizations of the world have disappeared, but the Indian one survives and functions even today. Hence, it must have got in it something special or extraordinary quality. The way the Hindu perspective handles conflicts is varied and complex. On the one hand, it is uncompromising on bad elements, and on the other, it sees manifestation of God everywhere, including the bad elements. The best way of solving the puzzle is to see that the bad elements are converted or eliminated, leaving behind the good ones only. This can be put across slightly differently. There is none who which is totally bad. The good one should be made to prevail over the bad one eventually. This approach to understanding conflicts and their resolution paves way for a variety of methods and interpretations. In practical terms, there are devised four standard way of dealing with the dispute or conflict in internal or foreign affairs. Reasoning or convincing as the first step is the best of options. The second is to strike a bargain, is securing the interest of both the conflicting parties satisfactorily. The third is to divide and weaken the in, intransigent opponent, and after he it is broken, try the other methods. The last and ultimate resort is to unleash violence in order to punish, if necessary, to destroy the opponent. After victory, the opposition should be forgiven and all should unite in a good cause. This scale for options has been in vogue in India over thousands of years, both in the domestic and external spheres. It has been given the cloak of respectability in the name of dharma or nyaya. Sam, Sam, Dan, Bhed, and Dand upayas. Jain and Buddhist paths have added nuances to this essentially Hindu way of dealing with conflict situations. Summary: conflicts are natural, they are part of all living creatures, human and otherwise. How to deal with them differs from one culture to another. Methods as well as concepts of conflict resolution are intertwined with psychology, religion, culture, philosophy, anthropology, technology, polity, jurisprudence, apart from many other ins, uh, inscrutable factors. Leading civilizations, religions, and regions of the world have thrown up different computations of conflicts and solutions. Comparisons are awkward, but a study of them all would definitely yield a rich material with useful insights. Thank you.